Welcome everyone to another episode of Follow the Light Music Review. My name is John DeLaurentis, and this is episode 6 of Revisiting the Classics. And we're going to be looking at a band that comes from the alternative rock realm, and it's going to be a look at their debut album, In a New World of Time by Adam Again. Okay, but before we get into that, I would like to encourage you to please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below what you think of this band, this album, and maybe some of their other discography. And then also ring the bell for notifications so you can be notified when a new video is released. All right, so let's get into it. So the album we're talking about today is Adam Again, In a New World of Time. Okay, and this is the first and only CD release of this, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about an announcement at the very end of this video concerning that. But this album was originally released on vinyl and cassette back in 1986 on Blue Collar Records. And this reissue on CD was done by the band themselves. This was Adam Again put this out. So this is the only existing CD version of it, and I imagine it's quite hard to find right now. So you may be asking, why am I choosing the very first album by Adam Again? Most people would say, well, that's not their masterpiece. That's not their high watermark musically. A lot of people would point to their second album, 10 Songs by Adam Again, which is my personal favorite by Adam Again. Or they might point to Homeboys or Dig, or even their final studio album, Perfecto. But the reason why I did not choose any of those and I chose this one is because this is where it all began. This is the beginning roots of the band, and I think it's an important album in many ways. And so this is the album I decided to spotlight for today. Instead of something like 10 Songs by Adam Again, which, by the way, did come in at number 55 in Contemporary Christian Music Magazine's top 100 albums of all time of Christian music in their published book. I'm going to talk about this one, though, because, like I said, this is the starting point for a band. So this band, primary leader of the band is Gene Eugene, also known as Gene Andrusko, which is his real name, and he came from Canada. And this band made inroads and were very influential in many ways, musically, and Gene Eugene himself through production and engineering of hundreds of different albums in Christian music, people from Crystal Lewis to the Prayer Chain to others. And then I think he became the house engineer for Tooth and Nail Records. He was also the co-founder of Broken Records, which later became Brainstorm Artists International. And of course, that label broke open all different kinds of musical avenues for alternative type music, even rap. If I'm remembering correctly, I believe the first SFC, Soldiers for Christ album, Listen Up, came out on Broken Records as well. But you can let me know if that's incorrect in the comments, but I believe that was the case. So let's look at this one. This is, like I said, the CD version. So let's look at this first. This was what it looks like on here. Just says Adam Again. And again, this was Adam Again releasing this independently, as this was not released by any label. So again, has a great cover art. And of course, this cover art was done by Howard Finster. And Howard Finster came to wide acclaim for painting the cover of Talking Heads' Little Creatures album. And if you go back after this video, look up Talking Heads' Little Creatures, and you'll look at the cover of that, and you'll see it looks kind of similar to this. Howard Finster had a very unique style, but the two album covers are very similar in a lot of aspects here. So that was the cover that was painted here, and so that's here on the booklet insert here. And then on the back we have some nice live photos of the band here. So let's go over who was in here. So I mentioned Gene Eugene, and Gene Eugene, of course, was on guitars, keyboards, vocals, primary songwriter in the band. His wife, Ricky Michelle, is on here for vocals. And also on here is Paul Valadez on bass. And rounding out the band was Greg Lawless on guitars. Okay, and there's a number of other musicians on here that contribute here. One of primary importance would be Dan Michaels on sax and lyricon. Dan Michaels, you might probably remember his name from the choir. Smitty Price on keyboards. We have Marty Schrock, who does lead guitar solos on 2 of the tracks on here, She's Run and Morning Song. And then we have Kurt, I'm going to look up here for my notes up here because it's very small here. Kurt Rasmussen and Ron Chase, they play percussion on here. However, the drums on this album and on 10 songs were primarily programmed on drum programming by Gene Eugene. So you might say, and some people do say, that would detracts from these albums. They didn't get a live drummer until John Knox came in on the Homeboys album. But I would beg to differ in that I feel that if you're going to use a drum machine, it's done in an exemplary way. I mean, if anyone needed to look at how to do drum machines or drum programming on albums, the best way to so they sound great, it's this album and 10 songs of Adam Again. It's fantastic drum programming. It doesn't detract from the music at all. You know, maybe on a rock album, we might say, you know, a drum programming machine is not going to sound so great, but it works well with this because the kind of music that's on here is music that can be classified as a nice hybrid of a lot of different musical styles on here. So a lot of people have said this is just a straight dance album, but I would beg to differ with that as well because I think it's more than that. It is definitely a dance and groovy album, but it has elements of funk, it has elements of soul, and it has elements of rock. Specifically, there's a lot of great guitar rhythms on here, some even jazzy, some elements with some of the chord structures in here, and some great guitar solos on here as well by Greg Lawless and Marty Schrock on those other 2 songs. This CD release here just has a very minimalistic booklet here, 4-pager, and it has the lyrics there, and they're very small, but they're readable. With a microphone or microscope, it's probably readable. And that's why I have my computer up here and I got the lyrics, and I also have the lyrics printed out here, which I think I'm going to do that. It's going to be better. But let's talk about this album and its impact. This is an album, like I said, introduced the world to this band Adam Again, who were very critically acclaimed. However, they never were this commercial success. They never appeared on any Christian radio hits chart at all. However, they crafted these beautiful artistic albums. Albums that I would say musically also may borrow elements of the Talking Heads. I want to think in terms of maybe Paul Simon's Graceland, where he mixed up all those different instruments and had that kind of experimental rhythmic soundscapes. That would be a great way to say that how this album sounds. And of course, that real rhythmic dance type beat there comes to absolute prominence on the 10 songs by Adam Again, which is an incredible album. Now, this album differs a little bit from their later albums in that this album is kind of what we would call their declaration of their Christian faith in a very overt way on this album lyrically. Okay, they would explore after this foundation was laid that yes, they are Christians and yes, they do believe in Christ and they believe he is who he said he is, and that's their faith. The rest of their albums kind of lyrically go into a more storytelling mode where they talk about issues, maybe inequities in society, like on Treehouse, on 10 Songs of Adam Again, and then maybe some songs about real life and emotions and all of those things, but always anchored it as the foundation that this is coming from a Christian worldview. So lyrically, very artistic, very ahead of their time. So the album opens up with this very rhythmic Life and First Degree. And like I said, the musicianship on here by these people is fantastic. It's first class musicianship. The bass lines very rhythmic, but also very complex in some parts. The guitar solos, again, funky, soulful, and this kind of opens up with that with Life in the First Degree. And it also features Dan Michaels on here with some horns, some saxophones on here that kind of add this this rhythmic measure to it. And so it's a great song. It's basically the chorus says, "So I'll sing in the streets and dance in the aisles and celebrate what will be. You're my only hope, your love everlasting, Life in the First Degree." So again, talking about the love of Christ here and the jubilation and hope that comes from that. This is followed up by one of their, like a hint at some of their more topical things that they would explore later on. But there's a song in here that comes up next called "She's Run," and it's about a runaway girl who runs away, and it starts out with mother stares at the empty bed, still haunted by the words her daughter said, "I'm leaving," because nobody understands. And the song goes on to paint this picture of the effect of the daughter leaving on the parents, and whether she's not going to come back or not. And it shows the emotions of the daughter too, that she's not sure she's going to return, but yet she's crying herself, and she's crying every night. This one also, again, with some nice guitar textures in there, and this really kind of really rhythmic guitar riff that comes on in here. Then this is followed by "Your Line Is Busy," and this one really features a frenetic, great guitar solo by Greg Lawless on here, where it just goes. It's like almost the only way I can try to give an analogy is it would be like someone taking strings and using them as rubber bands. I mean, it's just like this frenetic up and down the fret type, crazy type guitar solo that you have to hear. And again, another song talking about "Your line is busy, trying to get through to you. Your line is busy. I wonder who you're talking to. Your line is busy. I'm running out of things to do. I can't get through to you." And again, using the telephone, the line to your heart is just like a telephone. Everything's all tied up in miserable knots. So again, a portrait of somebody who's struggling. And again, these are portraits of people that need the love of Christ as the message of the song. And it kind of goes in, painting these portraits of human emotion, difficulties in life, struggles that would come to more fruition in their lyrics later on albums. But like I said, with the foundation of Christ below it. This is followed by "You Can Fall in Love," which is a really strong declaration about falling in love with the love of Christ here. And he talks about in the chorus, he says, "They tried a tomb, it wouldn't hold him. They tried a stone, it rolled away. They tried a rumor, we wouldn't believe it. They tried a lie, we knew the truth. That he was God and nothing less. He came to fill your emptiness. His love has stood the test of time. Now can it stand the test of your mind?" Really powerful lyrics here about the witness of in history of Christ and the reality of who he is. And it's to encourage people to believe, just believe. You can fall in love. You can fall in love. On the cross, the man of your dreams dies in shame, in love with us all, willing to take the blame, dying to give, love ever true. All right, so really, really strong message. This is followed up by the title track, "In the New World of Time," another very rhythmic, very memorable melody line in this. And this album is just filled with melody. You might think in terms of dance music as maybe being one-dimensional, or it's just the beat and there's not really much to it. That's not the case here. This music is not only danceable, but it's very, very melodic and very well constructed. I want to think in terms of maybe the band Chic, that was very big. They always seem to have that, although they did use a lot of repetition in their music. Chic had some really fine musicianship in there and some fine guitar riffs that went along with their beats. So there was a layer of musicality there that was in the band Chic. that I think is here as well in the Adam Again debut album. So that's In a New World of Time basically talks about the move into the new world, the new world that we live in when we accept Christ, because we become a part of his world, his kingdom. This is followed up by a very catchy song, Walk Away. And it opens up saying basically, tonight is the night you choose who to follow. And what's really neat about this song is you have Ricky Michelle and Gene Eugene trading off in the chorus. Walk away, you always walk away again, you walk away, and they trade off the lines. And then, in the beginning, Gene may sing Walk Away, and Ricky sings You'll Always Walk Away. Then the next time, Ricky sings Walk Away, and Gene sings You Always Walk Away. So it's really, really creative, very, very memorable song. This is followed by Miracles. And this is a really good song about the believability of Christ with the miracles that he performed in real time when he was here on earth. Water into wine, food for the hungry, sight for the blind, steps for the lame, living from the dead. Lazarus, come forth, he said. But you want to see a miracle. In other words, people want to see a miracle, but there's miracles that happen when Christ was here, when he did the miracles for people to see. But even a miracle of, when we think of miracles, just waking up in the morning is the first miracle of the day, when God gives us another day to live and to serve him. So this song kind of has that. God's love filled me, changed me inside out. And if that's not a miracle, tell me what it is. And you need to see some proof. That should be all you need, but you want to see a miracle, So all these miracles and wonders, and continuing today, we see miracles all the time in our world. The birth of a baby, that's a miracle as well. So we see all those things. This is followed by Morning Song, and this is a great song of worship. It basically saying the day begins, I'm only half awake, it's gray, the color of the fading darkness. The risen sun, I call his name, and when I look up, I expect to see the morning star above me. And then it goes into this beautiful, worshipful chorus. Sometimes I sing by myself. Sometimes we sing together. I like to make some noise. I like to stir it up. And then he says in the chorus, in the verses, he says, I cannot even speak except to say hallelujah. So again, a very worshipful song. This is followed by God Can Change Your World. He talks about, this is kind of a story song about a friend in LA. He's got problems. The empty feeling is what he remembers. Talk is cheap. But then he's talking about how God can change your world. And I know God can change your world. And then the album kind of slows down for a slow kind of ballad called Reason With Me. But even that kind of builds up into this nice guitar riff that kind of gives the backbone to the song as it builds up. Starts out very mellow and leads into this chorus of, if you'll reason with me, you'll see my love is for real. Talking in terms of Christ talking. If you reason with me, I'll reason with you, coming from the scripture. So just an incredible album. It's an album that I would encourage you, if you thought, well, that's Adam Again is just trying to find their footing and they really didn't get to their musical high water marks until later. And that may be true to some extent, but the album as is for a debut album is extremely memorable, very well played, musicianship excellent, bass lines excellent, and Gene Eugene shows his songwriting genius early on. And again, like I said, Gene Eugene went on to have great influence behind production and engineering and songwriting. And of course, later on, he was one of the founders of Lost Dogs, and he was in the Swirling Eddies under the pseudonym of Prickly Disco when he joined into the band. And of course, Swirling Eddies being more of a lighthearted type of band was a way that he explored another aspect of his. So this is a great album. Like I said, only CD version of it released by Adam Again themselves. And so, of course, it's already been announced, but if you have not heard, Retroactive Records is going to be releasing this in an updated remastered CD. This one and 10 songs by Adam again, and hopefully more later on. But I've been working on these as copy editor, and I can tell you these will come with nice booklets with the lyrics spread out. And I think I even found when I was copy editing the lyrics to the album that the lyrics that are printed in here are missing some of the lyrics. So those will be in there because I found them when I was copy editing them. And 10 Songs of Adam, again, never had the lyrics in the official CD release. They did at the time it came out offer for you to mail away to get the lyrics, which I did. So I have the official lyrics from the band that came in. And that's what I used to proof against for that album as well. So that's exciting news. Retroactive Records is going to do their stellar job that they always do. The three labels that I work for as copy editor, Girder Music, Retroactive Records, and Rocks Productions, all feature fantastic packaging, layouts done by Scott Waters. I do the copy editing, and then Rob Caldwell predominantly does the mastering for vinyl and for CD. They come with the great booklets inside, and this will be a great couple of reissues that I'm really looking forward to, because these are two great albums that need to get out there again to an audience to see and to hear again. If they have never experienced, maybe for some people who want to revisit this music, people that never were able to get a copy of this rare CD of Adam Again, or never got the 10 Songs by Adam Again album, the second one, which will also be coming out. That's all in the works. So I don't have any specific dates, but I know Retroactives did do a little blog post on that and some of the other things that they're coming out with. So it's really exciting. So again, if you forgot about this album, and even if you don't have it, I'm sure you can stream it somewhere on YouTube or other places. I would go back and revisit it because it's a really strong start for a very influential band, and also, spearheaded that kind of whole movement into this artistic, flowing alternative rock that bands like the 77s and the Choir continued on, and some of the other artists that were on the Broken Records label. And I think it was a really creative time period in the history of Christian music, and it's definitely something that needs to be revisited again. And so I'm very excited that these are going to be released again by Retroactive Records. So that's it for today. Again, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'd love to hear your comments about Adam Again, the band, about this album in particular. Maybe tell me what your favorite Adam Again album is, or your recollections of this album, or if you've never heard this album, maybe this is something new to discover online. You could stream it or try to get a hold of it. But it is coming out, like I said, retroactive this year, definitely a 2025 reissue release for this year. So again, ring the bell also so you can be kept aware of any new videos that are coming out. And I really appreciate you watching, and especially if you've made it all the way here to the end of the video. So as always, I encourage you to follow the light that shines out of the darkness. God bless everyone.